You are listening to the Get Global Network podcast of the Ask Avani Show. You can hear the show live on Saturdays at 3 p.m. in London, 9 a.m. Central Time in the U.S. on SoMetro Radio, one of the original member stations of the Get Global Network.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. This is the Ask Avani Show. You're listening to SoMetro Radio. I hope you guys are ready for another installment of today's Ask Avani Show. It's Saturday afternoon, people. I am broadcasting live from the UK, London town. I'd like to say good afternoon or good morning in his case to Kay Rose, Program Director for the Ask Avani Show. Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, Avani.
Now, people, this is a special show today because we have hit the 25th edition. Woo woo!
Again, this is a momentous occasion. There's applause in the background. There's crowds are cheering right now. The parade starts after the show. The floats and balloons. It's a momentous occasion.
Oh yes, people. Today is the day we have reached that particular milestone. So, you guys, I know you already want to know what today's topic is. So I'm just going to give it to you. Here you go. Addicted to the life, aspiration, or stupidity. Is it worth the stress and sacrifice? Now, what do you say to that, K-Rose? Is it worth the stress and sacrifice?
You always pick a topic, and literally something happens, or I talk to someone that relates to the topic. I met someone yesterday who I have an inkjet printer, so I buy ink from people all the time when they just want to get rid of it. So I meet a guy and I'm talking to him, and he's talking about basically downsizing, and he has a house that's 5 bedrooms, but all his kids are gone except one. And so he doesn't need all that room. He has had a business for years, and now he wants to really just downsize that and spend time with his family. And the 5 cars that he has, it's just not worth it anymore. Five cars, okay?
I'm assuming now that he had one for his wife, maybe one for his children. You know, are they grown-up children now, or?
Well, I didn't get the breakdown, but I have one for me, one for my wife. And if my son needs something in college, but okay, 5 cars.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, he must have a reason, unless he just likes all
There
these
we go.
cars.
But that goes to the topic of the day, doesn't it?
People, I want you guys to come. Come on, you got to come on the Ask Avani Show Twitter page and tell us, because Addicted to the Life, already that title. Ooh, today's show, we've got some interesting people to share with you and some interesting topics. Yes, as you know, I do like to do my research, and once I get engrossed in the topic, I can start to sort of find all this information. So yeah, it was very interesting for me looking at all my, research materials and social media and stuff like that, because when I was coming across some of these things online, now, I told you that I wanted to do this topic, didn't I, a couple of weeks ago, okay? And I said that there was a woman that really, when I saw her on this documentary, up until this point, I'd never heard of her. And I was thinking, oh my goodness. And it was CBS reality TV, because we do get that over here. And when I saw it, it really struck a chord with me, because I'm thinking, oh, wow, she did seem to be really ruthless when she was at her, her height, doing what she was doing. People, she was a drug dealer, but she was a very, I don't want to say the word, but yes, successful. And she made a lot of money. And she was so successful, her and her partner, in fact, that she became known to the FBI and, the DEA and all those other governmental U.S. agencies that like to try and stop people doing these illegal activities. We must stress it was illegal. So please don't start getting ideas and thinking that we are glamorizing said occupation, because we are not.
Not even close, okay?
Yeah, I just want to put that out there. Okay, I just have to put that out there. But as I said, she seemed really ruthless about it, and that was her quest for riches at the time. And yes, she wanted to make money and live a really, flashy, sumptuous lifestyle. And as far as she was concerned, she didn't care how she did it, as long as she got to do it. But then she suddenly started to realize, because then she had a son, and she suddenly thought, you know what, I need to leave this, because if I keep going, I'm gonna get caught. And unfortunately, her husband, because by this time she'd married him, he got shot in the cause of doing the drug deals and stuff. So that was it. Her life, she said her life practically changed overnight, and it almost ended for her because she just couldn't imagine going on without him. But rather than stopping, I think she suddenly got a new surge of adrenaline, and she thought, right, if they thought we were going hard before, I'm going to show them. So she just went hard. And I'm thinking, wow, this woman, wow, you know, the FBI was training her. She even had to leave her son with her mum so she could go on the run, because she was like, they ain't taking me to jail. I'm going on the run. And I thought, wow, can you imagine? This is why I'm asking the question. Is it worth the stress and sacrifice? Because she went on the run. Now, can you imagine a mother, and she wanted to be a good mother to her son, but she realised that she didn't want to get caught. So she had to leave him and go on the run. Who wants to do that? You know?
Okay, you just said two directly opposite things. She wanted to be a good mother, but she wanted to go on the run. Okay.
Well, this is when she realised that she couldn't really be the mother that she really wanted to be, because if the police caught her in her mind, and this is her mindset, if the police catch her, she's going to jail. So she was on the run. I think she was on the run for like 2 years or something like that. But then she came back. Eventually, she couldn't resist, and she came back to see her son at school graduating. And they were waiting for her because they'd been tracking her, innit? So they knew what she was doing, kind of thing. So I'm thinking, wow. And eventually she did serve time, kind of thing. But before she started to leave, the thing that made me really fascinated with her was she seemed obviously she was good at what she was doing with the drugs. But when she wanted to leave, she even was forming a successful, legitimate business. I think she was selling hair products and hair and stuff like that. And it was doing really good. And she was rubbing shoulders with celebrities and everything. So she could have, you know, knocked the drug business on the head and started doing this one, because she obviously has a talent for business, right? So I'm thinking, well, why didn't she just stop doing the drugs and just carry on? And because that could have afforded her a way out at the time, plus a great income to, you know. But she decided, no, she's going to carry on doing what she's doing. By then, obviously, the FBI are closing in on her because of her drug dealing activities. Again, I stress, we are not advocating said occupation. And even in her own words, she's even said it was all about the money. So as far as she was concerned, she was going to do whatever she could to do, you know, to make that money. And she had a nice house, lovely house, lovely cars, furs, whatever she wanted. She was living large. She was getting so good at it that, you know, she did all sorts of things to be able to keep on selling more and more drugs and keep her lavish lifestyle. You know, she became known as Queen Pin. So that's the story of Jamaica Thompson Hairston, formerly Jamaica Mosley. This lady is the reason I wanted to do today's show, people.
And do we have her link in here that I can shoot out to everyone now? Or do you have...
Yes, it's link 1.
Thank you.
Former LA Queen Pin discusses her journey from drug dealing to redemption. Because I must stress, she did jail time. And then that was it. Her life turned around. And you will be so surprised to know these days that she is a pastor. And a very successful one at that.
Not shocked at all.
Well, over here, we were like, Because I realized, I have to say this, right? You guys, your pastors, man.
Well, that's a whole show by itself, buddy.
Maybe we should, because listen, I have noticed that your pastors in the big churches, listen, to me, it seems like the church is almost not just to go for, you know, salvation and redemption, but it's also to go there for entertainment. And they like to pass around that plate to get compensated for their entertaining words.
Well, you know, the way you just put it, I think, is really the truth of the matter. They, again, want to be compensated for their entertaining words. And
that's how I look at it.
And I really think that is a way I would say it a little rougher, but I think that's a good way to frame it, because...
How would you say it then?
Yeah, well, I'll say that on back channel, but but the way that we think of it as people, you're looking at that person to lead you, give you guidance, explain that piece of literature to you, and explain and define a relationship you should have with the Creator, those type things. But you do have a lot of them that are about the money, and they are about the life, and they are about all the things you're talking about today.
Well, I seen one that was asking how much millions for a private jet. I remember seeing an article about that.
And his name actually is Creflo Dollar.
That's the one, Creflo Dollar.
dollars. So how ironic is that?
Oh my God. When I saw that, I nearly died. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, she's very successful now. Very successful. And I thought, okay, she's paid the price for her crimes, and I'm thinking, wow, it's interesting. Her story. So people, like I said, this is the lady that made me want to do today's show. And once I started delving in, I was like, wow. As I said, again, I could have found a lot more material on a lot more people. Like I said, she actually wrote a book as well. So it just goes to show you that, yeah, she knows she's been through a lot and she wants to share that experience. But also, again, business-minded lady that I'm sure she is, extremely savvy. She knows that people want to hear her story. And in hearing her story, she can write that book and she can make some more paper. But legitimately now, because no one ain't going to take her to jail for sharing her story, are they?
Right, and that's the other piece of this puzzle. And that's why we're not going to get deeply into the ministers today, because the ministers, as we call them, that is a legal way. If you are doing it for the right reasons, so let me start off with that first. If you're doing it for the right reasons and you're doing it to help people, it's really a noble profession. It is a profession, also being a minister. But there is also a contingent of people who understand the fact that a nonprofit organization can generate millions of dollars.
But where's it going to? They call it nonprofit. It's got to be going somewhere.
But if I'm the person that is the minister of the flock, I am the leader of the flock, I'm the pastor, I have to have a salary. And it's just like a CEO of a company. You are the CEO or you're the president or whoever, you decide what your salary is. And so I can, make my salary $50 million if I want to. Instead of paying everybody that works for me $20 an hour and making my salary $3 million, I make $50 million and I pay them minimum wage.
Right.
And so churches are a legal way to basically make a lot of money. And you can still tell your story because she's got a story to tell. But this is a legal hustle for her.
Why did she think about this type of thing before? Unless she would have saved herself, I think she did 12 years or whatever it was in jail.
A lot of time to think. A lot of time to think.
A lot of time to think. I was like, but I have to say, the woman, she is savvy, and no matter what, she was going to survive. I think that she said that when she went to jail, she suddenly decided to change her ways, and she called on God to, if he wanted to use her, she was going to accept him into her life, and she was going to change completely from that mindset, because I'm sure she realized that she must have destroyed a lot of lives, because I think she started out selling marijuana. And then she went on because she realized there was more money, her and her. But I don't think, apparently they say that he didn't want to do that. Her husband that she married at that time didn't want to do that. But she convinced him, we can look how much we're making doing this. Let's make even more selling that kind of thing. So he went along with it. And obviously they had their rewards in that sense monetarily. But he died.
Did he die or was he killed? It's too,
killed.
Right.
Yeah,
and so I think that must have weighed on her also. If I had not wanted to be the richest woman in the game, he would possibly be alive, because we were just doing something that was making us some money, but I wanted to make all the money, and now he's dead. And so she had to have a reaction to that too. But a child should have been a trigger that shut down all the illegal things if she really wanted to be with that child.
Well, you would think so.
Right.
But I suppose she got so used. I suppose some people might argue, you get used to the way you're living and you decide that I have to do this because I want to make sure that my child has the best, and this is the only way I know how. Again, I'm not making excuses. I must be quick to point out. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to get into the mindset of somebody. But I've suddenly realized that a lot of people, when they are good at
And today on the show, we're having a couple of items. We've had some technical difficulties earlier in the show. And so right now, I think we're going to take a break and come right back. You're listening to the Ask Avani Show here on SoMetro Radio.
Hi, this is Avani. You're tuned in to the Ask Avani Show podcast on the Get Global Network.
Hey, it's Kay Rose with the